Hello and thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm sharing with you this mixed media canvas that's full of lots of liquid acrylics and lots of texture. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. For my background texture, I'm using plaster paste through the Book of Numbers stencil, which is one of the stencils from Finnabair's latest release, which was amazing. But as you can see, I'm not, well, you really can't see, sorry, it's white on white and it's not very clear, but you can see that I'm randomly placing little bits of the stencil around the canvas, and I'm not really trying to get the whole stencil in any wind direction, and I'm not really caring too much if it's perfect. I'm just placing texture in the background here and there until I'm happy with it. Once I'm happy with it, I'm going to go ahead and give that a dry, and then I'm going to spin the canvas and do that again. So you're not really going to see so much the numbers, you're just going to see the texture and a little bit of the pattern. I hope that makes sense. And once I'm happy with this, I'm going to go ahead and give it another dry and move on to the next step. For this, I'm using a little bit of heavy body gel and lots of resin pieces. Now, some of these I poured specifically for this canvas, and some of these I did not. They were just in a bin, and that's why some of them are black resin, some of them are tan resin, some of them are clear resin. It's kind of a hodgepodge, but I'm just trying to build up my base layer, and then I'm going to continue to add my focal point on top of that. So I'm not 100% sure where everything's going to go at this point in time. I've kind of laid it out a little bit, and I think I know what I want to use, but I'm going to just move it around a little bit here and there. So this does jump around a little bit. You can see I've built my focal point up by attaching the wings to the back of the butterfly, and that butterfly is from a redesigned mold designed by CC Restyled, I think. Anyways, everything will be listed into the description box below. And most of these, I believe, you can find in the Mixed Media Place or on Prima's website. And some, again, I have no idea what they are, but they were just on my desk and they fit. Hope that makes sense. So I'm going to continue to build this up, and I will be quiet while you see me put this together. Now that this is pretty much together, I'm going to go ahead and give this a dry and add a little bit of heavy white gesso, mainly because, like I said before, I use different kinds of resin, so I want everything to react the same way to my layers of color. I'm starting with these 3 liquid acrylics, and I'm going to try to use the brightest blue on the butterfly and the darker blue in the background, and the black is going to go on the piping and the bottom, is what I'm thinking at this point in time, and this kind of just goes from there. So I'm applying some color, some water, some color, some water. Then I'm going to give everything a dry in between and continue this process until I'm happy with the way that it looks. I hope that makes sense. So as you can see, I'm just going to continue to keep moving this color around I did let everything dry really well before I did this because I didn't want anything to really move. So walking away does help with that. And then you can start to see some of that texture come to life once it's dry. You can see all the numbers. And now I'm adding the second brighter blue, Aquamarine. And then I'm going to continue and just keep moving this color around until I'm happy with it. With all my blue in place, I am adding a little bit of black and just darkening up these pipes, adding some shadows, just trying to give this canvas just a tiny bit of depth. So I'll continue this process, use some water and spread it around just a little bit, and then I'm going to dry it again. Once I'm happy with this, I'm going to go ahead and move back to my focal point, which is here. I should have went ahead and painted that ahead of time. I did not. It gets way off camera, so I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead. I'm going to add some metallic flakes now. As you can see, I did this to the skull already off camera, which is going to be placed right here. But now I'm going to add some more in the background. I'm just using a little bit of glue, and I'm very, very randomly placing this around my focal point. And then I'm going to attach I believe it's the mixed media metallic flakes. It's a collection of all three colors. And these are not the easiest to do, and it gets pretty messy, so I'm going to jump ahead here in just a second. And you're going to see I just have random pieces of metallic here and there. Once my flakes were in place and everything was dry, I went ahead and went over everything with another coat of liquid acrylic. I wanted everything to be a little bit shiny, but I didn't want them to be a different color, if that makes sense. So here we are. You can see I'm adding the blue on top of the metallic flakes. Now I'm going back to the pipes and I'm adding a little bit of texture because everything just kind of seems meh. So I'm adding some texture on my pipes, and then I'm going to not really like this too much because it's too light after the texture. So I'm going to go in with some burnt sienna and carmine. And that's going to give the pipes more of the look that I want to have there. And here you can see that I'm adding the burnt sienna. I'm going to do that everywhere. It'll skip ahead in just a second. And after this is dry, I'm going to go ahead and add in the carmine. And that, once it's dry, gives it much more of a more rusty look, and it's just a richer, deeper color. And I'm finally happy with it after that. With all the rest in place, I'm going to go ahead and move on to adding a little bit of highlights back into this canvas using Finnabair's Sparks Unicorn Hair. So I'm just going to continue to dry brush this across the canvas, going pretty heavy-handed across the top and then lighter as I go down to the bottom, kind of focusing the highlights on the top of everything as the light is shining down. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to continue to move the canvas around and around and just continue to add highlights. But really, that's really all that's left on this canvas. I do go ahead and add some micro beads and some glitter off camera, but you really can't see that process, so I didn't add it in the video. So hope you'll forgive me for that, but you will see it in the final little flip through. But once again, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you did enjoy this process. If you'd consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing, that would be greatly appreciated. And I always do appreciate reading any comments that you leave. And that's really it. Thanks again. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.